Hi, welcome to Reddit Stories and Drama. Enjoy and subscribe.
IDSHL, Prof. Karen forces me to attend classes when I don't study there. I am 36F, working as a marketing manager in a fairly famous company. Owing to COVID, my calendar is normally choc-a-bloc with meetings all day long. I work with people on both hemispheres of the globe. To provide some context, I am short and friendly and have clung onto the Y2K fashion for longer than one should, and tend to get mistaken for someone younger. My friend, a PhD student, had just completed her thesis from a famous school in town and asked me to come with her to collect her stuff from her workspace and room. COVID rules required her to move her things out if she wasn't using the space. We both sauntered into the campus, grabbed a meal and chatted while packing her paperwork up. I had an urgent call with a country team, so I broke off and decided to find a quiet place to take my call. I was just connecting 5 minutes early when I feel a hand yank me. I still had my headphones on, so I spun around and saw this lady yelling at me. She had the face of a Karen if Karens were melded into smug professors. She looked at me, smiling, with a chin diaper mask, with the "you're so in trouble young woman" grin. It took me a while to disconnect the call and I asked her what she needed. She started yelling at me saying I was playing hooky and I had a class to be in. I looked down at what I'm wearing, skirt and salad fingers graphic tee. Didn't help that I'd colored my hair. I tried to explain to her that I wasn't a student and I needed to get on a call, but she started dragging me into the class I was supposed to be in. My brain just froze because I'm panicking. I'm missing an important work call and my friend is nowhere in sight. We're outside a class now and I'm trying to call my friend. She snatches my phone and claims she's seen me do this more often. Really, Professor Karen, now you have a non-existent history of my misgivings. She's convinced she's seen me do this in her class as well as someone else's. She called the prof teaching the class out and asked her to take me in. These are huge classes, so the one teaching also assumes I'm a part of her class. I'm really questioning my clothing/life choices at this point. I was going to give up and just attend that damn class when my friend comes rushing in. I told her what happened quickly, but Karen is now convinced we're both horrid kids that need to be schooled. My friend had left her ID in her room, but I remember I was carrying my visiting card, yes, companies still make those, and my credit card with me. The teaching prof has gone inside, but Karen still has her hand firmly clasping my wrist. She throws away my visiting card and drags the both of us to the dean's office. We're waiting and I can see my MS Teams blow up with messages while she's still holding onto my phone. I wanted to scream, but I'm mortified of confrontation and clearly so is my friend. The dean calls us in and we explain the situation. Karen keeps telling him that I failed her class and she knows me to pull such stunts. It's gotten personal. I quickly turn around and ask her what my name is and she says she doesn't remember it, but she knows my face. I snatched my phone, showed my credit card, my office profile, thankfully we have those with photos, and the call I'm being pinged for. It slowly dawns on the dean's office to what has happened. Gears are slowly turning in Professor Karen's head. I pick up my things and tell them I'm leaving the campus. I leave behind my card and tell them they can debar me if they find me in the system. I even leave my personal phone number on the card. I'd wanted to see what happened to that horrid lady, but a part of me just wanted to run straight out of there. My friend then told me how it all played out after, but I had an interesting story to tell my colleagues to why I didn't show up for a work call. Edit: thank you guys for pointing out that this is tantamount to kidnapping. I'm going to go to the university again this week to follow through with the report and highlight all the things you've mentioned on the chat. Hope she never bothers a student ever again. Edit 1. It's an Asian country. Universities are a lot stricter, and if you are pursuing your undergrad, you'd not have much say over lecturers' admin. TLDR. Professor Karen tries to detain me in a college I don't attend and makes me miss a meeting. Makes a fool of herself at the university office. And now let's see what the comments section has to say. Karen, I've seen you do this a lot. Also Karen, I don't know your name. I would have liked to see her try to explain to 1, your boss, and 2, the people you were supposed to be on the phone with, why it was so much more important you obey her than obey your boss or take the call. I can hear her sputtering in my head. LOL. Are you sure you are 36 and not 10? If your friend was a PhD student, I feel like this was in a college environment. College instructors have less reason to drag a student back to class. Please at least email a complaint to the school. If she physically dragged you around, doesn't that mean you can sue her and the college?
Story 2. Another post on here reminded me of this one. Quite some time ago, my girlfriend and I, now my wife of more than 15 years, moved in together and had to set up all the things. Cable, internet, phone, etc. We got our home phone number, our 2 cell phones, and we were off to the races. Almost immediately, we start getting calls for an establishment that does custom framing and various other art-related things. Let's call them Expo for Art. Of course, we had caller ID and we had friends that would call us, but inevitably if we didn't recognize the number. It was someone wanting to find out if their order was complete or their frame was done, of what their hours were, or any of 1,000 other questions. I'm sure anyone else who had this happen will recognize this exchange. Sorry, that's no longer their number, this is a residence. Yes, I'm sure. No, I'm not giving you my address. No, I don't know their new number. Yes, I have a phone book, but so do you. Eventually, after 1,000 of these, and changing the message on our answering machine to say, this is not, I repeat not, Expo for Art. If you are trying to reach Expo for Art, please hang up, look up their number, and try that, because we aren't them. Eventually, I got my gazillionth call, and I asked a person on the other end of the line, where they keep getting this number. Well, it's printed on my receipt. I guess I'll just call this other number. Any chance you can give me that one? Thanks. I call it. Hello, Expo for Art. You guys are still giving out my home phone number on your receipts. Yeah. So? Well, fucking stop it. It's been at least a year since you haven't had that number. At least cross it out or something. That's a pain in the ass. I'm not making my employees do that. So you're the manager? I'm the owner. So let me see if I have this right. What was your name again? Let's call him Fred. Fred, have decided that it's too inconvenient to cross my home phone number off of your receipts, so you're just going to keep giving it out. Yup. What are you gonna do? Sue me? Maybe. Whatever. I've got shit to do. Bye. I called a lawyer. Didn't really have a leg to stand on. I went to the store and asked for Fred. Fred's not here. He's hardly ever here. Really? You want me to call him? No, I'm fine. I know this is going to sound odd, but is there any chance I can see one of your receipts? She picks up a receipt book and shows it to me. Sure enough, it's got my phone number at the top, above another one. I say I thought so. I couldn't get you at the other number, some guy yelled at me, and I didn't have my old receipt, so I had to come down here. We've been having that happen a lot. Ever since Fred decided we didn't need 2 phone lines. But he had just bought like 20 boxes of these receipt books and business cards, and he's too cheap to buy more until they run out. I'd hate to be that guy. Yeah, that's gotta suck. So I went home and hatched my evil plan. Next phone number I didn't recognize. Hello, Expo for Art. Hi, this is Mary Smith. I dropped off a thing last week to be framed. Is it ready? Let me check. Yup. We finished it this morning. I hope you don't mind, but we decided to upgrade the matting because of the weight of the piece. It's the same color and won't be charging you for it since it was my decision. Oh, thank you. I'll be down to pick it up later today. What time do you close? I look down at the business card with my number and the hours clearly marked 11:04. Take your time, we'll be here until 7. Thank you so much, can you tell me how much that was? $19.99 ma'am, plus tax, so $21.39. Wow, that's cheap. Are you sure? Of course. If anyone has a problem, tell them you talked to Fred. Okay, see you around 6. See you then. Thank you for calling Expo for Art. For weeks I kept giving out completely random information. How much is a 36x48 matted frame? Let's say $24.99. Wow, that's cheap. How much to have it done custom? How they want it? Custom is an extra $10, so $34.99. Wow, that's cheap. I'll be right down. What was your name? Fred. See you in 10, Fred. How much to have the entire front page of the New York Times from 9/11 mounted and framed? $33.99, unless you want our special, proprietary newspaper frame and mat service, only $49.99 and guaranteed for life, only at Expo for Art. Tell them Fred sent you. I can only imagine the number of pissed off people who showed up to pick up orders that weren't ready, and when they finally were given a price way higher than what Fred had told them over the phone. Eventually, someone let slip that they called the number on the receipt, and that's what Fred had told them. Fred was not happy. Hello, thank you calling Expo for Art, this is Fred. You're not Fred, I'm Fred. Are you trying to put me out of business? Equals why Fred, whatever do you mean? Someone has been giving prices to my customers and telling them their orders are in when they're not due for weeks. Well, Fred, who called them? Nobody called them, they called us. Then what's the problem? If someone called you and got pricing information, that would seem to be your problem. They didn't call me, they called you. Well, how would that happen? Your number is on my receipts and business cards. My. It seems to me there's a very simple solution here. Take my number off of your receipts and business cards. Do you have any idea how much promotional materials cost? Is it more than it costs to do these jobs for the prices you're quoting? Is it more than it costs to lose customers, or less than that? This is extortion. Call it what you want, Fred. The choices and consequences are entirely up to you. A week later, hello, Expo for Art, this is Fred. I've ordered new receipt books and cards. Can you please stop this bullshit? Sure. Bye, Fred. Ada, holy smoke. By far my most liked post ever. Thanks for the awards, everyone. I didn't even know platinum was a thing. Thanks, guys. Edit 2. Since a lot of people have asked this, no, I didn't let him off the hook until the call stopped, but it was only a week or so after he called me back. He must have paid for expedited shipping. Story 3. I am a 18 years old male, born completely deaf and mute. Also, I am partially blind in my left eye. I live with my sister, 28F, who had been taking care of me since our parents died. Recently she got married and went on her honeymoon. So I am on my own for a few weeks. This happened yesterday. Usually, whenever I go out I am accompanied by my sister due to my disability. But now, since she is on her honeymoon, I had to go out alone. There was a new supermarket opened in our area and I needed some items, so decided to go there and grab them. My bad for wearing a red-colored shirt almost similar to the employees working there. But if you look closely, you could see that it was not the uniform. I was at the electronics section looking for some batteries when I see an old man struggling to get some DVDs at the top shelf. Since I am tall, I helped him. He thanked me, I can do lip reading, and went on his way. Then I began looking for the batteries. That's when I felt someone grab my left wrist. I turned around and a woman, in her late 40s, slapped me. She was speaking something, but I couldn't follow her lips as she spoke too fast. However, I was able to catch some words like you, ignore, job, etc. So, I signed to her that I am deaf. Apparently, this was a wrong move because she became more irate towards the signs. Again she was yelling something, but I couldn't catch anything. So I took my notebook and started writing that I am deaf and mute. Before I could finish, she grabbed my notebook and pen and threw them away. Then she slapped me again and pushed me to the ground. Luckily, by this time a store employee came to see what the commotion was about. He saw me on the ground and helped me up. Then he asked me what happened. Before I can sign to him, Karen starts to yell at the employee. I don't know that she said as she was not facing me. After she finished, I signed to employee that I cannot hear or speak. Fortunately, he understood and explained this to the lady. But she is still not convinced. She tries to assault me again, but I moved away. Then I wrote and showed the employee to call the cops on her. The employee nodded and called the cops. Karen tried to run away, but the security caught her. The police arrived in about 10 minutes. They first talked to the employee who explained the situation about how Karen assaulted me because she mistook me for a store employee. One police officer comes and speaks to me. I understood that he wanted my version of events, so I wrote everything down and showed it to the officer. Then they went to check the CCTV footage. Then came back and asked me if I wanted to press charges. I gladly said yes. Karen was then placed in handcuffs and given a free ride at the back of a police cruiser. The manager then explained to me that Karen thought I worked there and she became angry that I ignored her. She had been standing on my left side, so obviously I couldn't see her. The store manager then offered me a 50% discount on the products. I texted my sister about the events that happened and she was livid. Oh, did I mention that my sister is a lawyer? She told me that she herself will be handling the case and would see that Karen would get maximum time. Court date is in around 40 days. I will update about it after court. Edit. I noticed many were asking about masks. She was indeed wearing one, but during that encounter she had it on under her chin and not covering the nose or mouth. Also, lawyers in India can represent their family in court as long as they are not directly involved in it and the judge is not a relative to the lawyer.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe.